Hello, my friends on YouTube. Today is the 6th of August 2023. Today's video is Aisha's, excuse me, Aisha's sexual fantasies, plural, fantasies. We spoke before about what Aisha done when she was accused that she had sexual relationship with a young man. His name was Safwan bin al-Mu'attal. We're going to speak a little bit about this, but the reason I'm talking about this is because as I was reading about Aisha, the young bride of the founder of Islamic ideology, whom she married him, she was 6 years old, and he had full sexual relationship with her when she was 9 and he was 54 years old, grown up. I can't say man, but anyway, call him whatever you want to call him, because a man should not do such a thing with a 9 years old. A child. This is a pedophile. This is pedophilia. Okay? So I can't call that a man. Men will not do that. Okay? Anyway, as I was reading, there are things that it sticks out. It is very hard to let it go. Okay. Let's say there are many people who are Christian, Buddhist, Jewish, whatever religion or faith you believe in. Let's say we are living at the time of Moses, and Moses died. And the Jewish people respect Moses and his teaching, and therefore they would go to see his wife. Let's say his wife was still alive, so they will go and ask, how did Moses deal with a situation like this? They ask guidance in life. And the things that it strikes me in that case here, it's probably people will ask about, it could be also marriage problem. How would Moses deal with such problem? But probably, I would say most of the time, the question would be about the relationship between neighbors. How to respect my neighbor, how to respect my neighbor's wife, how to respect my neighbor's properties, and so on and so forth. How to live a decent life, how to be a holy man or woman. I would say that should have been the main subject of how to talk to the wife of Moses, or if Jesus was married and he died before his wife, and the people who followed him, they need certain clarification. It will be, in a way, what I'm trying to say, a holy atmosphere. Okay? However, when you read the stories, Aisha is narrating. By the way, she is the one who narrated most of hadith after the death of her husband. And you could say, okay, probably rightfully so, and the reason is because she was his favorite wife, and therefore probably he shared with her a lot. However, most of her hadith, most of what she had narrated is sexual and sexual oriented stuff. And you know what? Sometimes you have to give an advice. I'm very sure that in Christian churches and in Jewish synagogue and Hindu temples and so on and so forth, the leader of this congregation, oftentimes probably he is asked, or yeah, more, he's normally it is he is asked, about relationship in marriage, how it can be regulated, how it can be proper. And that's okay. But when you go to see this minister or that religious leader, you see his wife, and most of her talk is about sex. We spoke about her before, that when Muhammad, the founder of Islam, was attacking a tribe called the Banu al-Mustalaq. First, he used to do a lottery to see which of the many wives would come out with him, so he would do his morning jihad against the infidel, and night time he has to rest and he has to do some jihad with his wives. So in the morning he is using the sword to do his jihad, kill people, and in the evening he is using, you could say, different swords to do the night jihad. I'm sorry, it is disgusting, but I'm sorry, we have to say it as it is. So here is Aisha went with him to this invasion, and then she arrived one night after the caravan. She stayed in the desert whole night, and when she arrived, the face said something. She and the young man, his name was Safwan. One man, I can't remember his name, and I didn't research his name. However, actually not one, few people said they must have done together something. They didn't say it openly. What he was saying is, he must have touched her, she must have touched him, practically. And this when Ali, the nephew of Muhammad, told him to divorce her, and that brought hate between her and Ali, the nephew of the Prophet of I shouldn't say the Prophet, the nephew of Muhammad. And that hate continued after Muhammad died, and therefore they actually fought a bloody battle. Many people, Muslim people from both sides, killed one another because of that. He knew that she committed adultery, and because Muhammad is his uncle, he told him to divorce her. There are many women who will honor you better than her. Divorce her. So she kept that in her heart until he died, and then she wanted to kill him. Anyway, she came. They look like they had sexual relationship. So it was a difficult situation for her husband. So he couldn't say anything, because I really think he loved her, or loved young girls. Let's put it in the proper sentence. He was a pedophile. That is, so he loved that relationship with her. So he couldn't let her go. So he waited for 1 full month. And his angel Gabriel didn't come in this 1 full month, because actually he was waiting to see if she will have a period at the end of the month. If she does within 1 month, then she didn't get pregnant. Then he can safely give a couple of Quranic verses that she's okay and she never done anything. If she's got pregnant, then it means she did and she got pregnant, and he can Gabriel, the angel, give him a couple of different Quranic verses to suit the situation. So he couldn't decide which of the situation Gabriel should invent the Quranic verses, and he waited. She wasn't pregnant, so what the heck. All what I want is the sex with this girl, this young girl. It doesn't matter if she's fooling around with other boys, other guys. It's okay. So here, when I read about this young lady, she has certain fantasies. Not, I'm saying plural. You know, like men and women, boys and girls, they have fantasies as we are growing up. You want to be like, let's say you like boxing, you want to be better than Mike Tyson, you want to be the best tennis player, you want, if it's a girl, she wants to be like Barbie, or she wants to have a pink car, very pretty, and very handsome man comes to marry her. All these fantasies, they happen to young kids, okay? And rightfully so. Actually, Aisha, she was a child when she got into that rape situation. And she always probably yearned for a younger guy her age, to enjoy life with him and to enjoy sexual relationship with him instead of that grandpa. And when they say he actually had 9 wives, he used to have sex with 9 women in one night. I honestly, as I think about this situation, I think he was impotent. In any case, he had a big problem. If a man at age of 63 can have sexual relationship 9 times minimum in one day, something very wrong. Because even at 45, that start to diminish. You're not a teenager anymore. And so if he was really doing that 9-10 times a day, something wrong with him. And if he was impotent and he is just trying to tell his guys, don't get near my wives because I'm handling them every day, I'm doing my job with each one of them every day, so they don't need you to add. They have enough. I'm more than enough. I handle 9-10 women a night, so leave them alone. And it could be either way, but in both ways he had a problem. Anyway, that when you have a young lady like Aisha, which I really feel sorry for her, because at 18 and this guy kicked the bucket and he's gone, and he forbid them, all of his wives, not to marry after his death. None of them got married. So imagine a young lady at the age of 18 lived with an old man all her life. Maybe when he was 54, probably he managed to have some sexual relationship with her. And the age of 9, I don't think, I don't know, I can't say how much sexual feeling a 9 years old will have. I doubt that, because at 9 years old, my kids, none of them, That stuff is not in their head. Boys or girls, it's not in their head. So I don't think she enjoyed him when she was 9, 10, or 11 years old. It was probably more like rape. Probably she hated him. And then by the time she started to open up to this sexual relationship, he was already out of order. Is gone. So she had her own fantasy of young guy, and that's why when she had the chance to stay in the desert for one night, to have a relationship with a guy about her age, to fulfill her fantasy, she did. Okay? And I'm not blaming her for that. She was a victim by her parents and by her husband. She was a victim. So I can't blame her. But again, one of her fantasies, one is, as I was reading, she said hadith, and this hadith she was saying, the translation, I'm going to put it in the description box. When the Prophet of Allah wanted to, I'm sorry, but fondle one of us when we are having our period. So a woman, each woman has once a month, she has her period. And at this time, women don't want to be left alone, practically. But he cannot leave her alone. So if any of his wives has her period, he would tell her, practically, like, use a small piece of cloth to put on your sexual area, sexual part, to absorb the blood, so I can have my way with you. And it to an average, this is actually sickening. To an average person, this is sickening. That he's doing that, and she is narrating that from both sides. What do I get from that as wisdom? What is the wisdom that I can get from such a thing? Nothing. So I know that, as I said, people can go to the religious leader's wife after his death, whether it's Moses, Jesus, Buddha, and ask about spiritual things, holy things. However, those who have gone to see the Muhammad's wife Aisha after his death, after they speak with her, oftentimes after they go to bed, they have wet dream. Happened often. And the question here, I mean, how often would a person, especially if you are a guest in somebody else, a man will have a wet dream? And to have a wet dream, you have to be realistic. You must have had a dream, a sexual dream, that you're having sexual relationship with another person. And therefore, here, this Aisha, when the people go to her, young guys, she's always talking about sex and what she did with the Prophet. So one of the stories that one guy was he had a wet dream, so he was washing his garment in the morning. So her servant, her slave, sees this young man washing his garment. So she asked him, "What are you doing?" He said, "Well, I had a wet dream, so I'm washing it." Okay. Actually, she shouldn't ask him to start with. That's his clothes, that's his business, leave him alone. But she asked, "Okay, you found out." So she runs to Aisha and she tells her what's happening, that this guy had a wet dream last night and he's washing. Aisha, any respectable woman would say, "None of your business, leave him alone. That's personal stuff. Leave him. He washes, he whatever is his business." No, she runs to him and she says, "No, no, no, wait. You shouldn't wash that." You see, when the Prophet did that, I used to scratch it with my fingernail, or kind of like rub it against each other, against in the cloth. And I'm wondering, what does that have to do with me or with this young man? Whether he washes it or scratch it with the finger or whatever. That means she's inviting young people, she's yearning for these young people, and she's stimulating them all night with sexual talk. To a point that when they go to bed, they go to sleep, all that fantasy build up in their heads and they have wet dreams. And in the morning she guides them how to deal with that. She probably was sick too, mentally, to be doing this. But probably her sickness is more justified because she was a young lady and she had fantasy inviting these all young kids, young guys, handsome, good looking. I can't enjoy them in bed. I can't marry one of them and sleep with him and enjoy proper sexual relationship with him as close in age. So she stimulates them sexually and probably she gets feeling of orgasm. I'm not sure, but it's all kind of weird. And you read the whole story, like, okay, how many, the war that it's taking place now between Ukraine and Russia, how many general, whether from the Ukrainian side or the Russian side, how many general will take his wife with him during the fight and fight in the morning and in the evening go to have sexual relationship with his wife? Zero, none. So you are going, that's her husband, going to fight a fight. You are going to attack. Is your head in, regardless of if he's a righteous military leader or not, it doesn't matter here. But a military leader, he really wants to win the battle. He wants to win. And to win, all of your energy, all of your thought, all of your head should be how to fight the fight. His head, to do a lottery to choose one of his women to go with him, his head is in the sex. Maybe it's better because otherwise he would have conquered the whole world. Sex conquered him. We thank you very much and we hope to hear from you. Please comment, like and share.